Hailings and salutationing-ings. This is Richard Hines correspondencing co-building-ing-er through this one great free public tuple ship field of globularly bobbininging globular bobbining. The public situation machine begins with a simple discovery. We humans appear to make use of the same 7-position reasoning sequencing loop every time we're trying to make sense of the situation we find ourselves in. This loop is how we keep on finding coherence, or, as we understand it in this architecture, the continuity line. With each restep, the public situation machine winds one revolution through this same 7-position reasoning sequencing loop while it advances the continuity line by one discrete turn. In this machine, time is not merely passing while the computer operates. Each discrete turn is one piece of time. And a piece of time is the only surface upon which the situation can be given standing. Upon each piece of time, placements in relation can be given standing together as a locality. This is what makes inhabitationing possible. The public situation machine is an inhabitationingable computer. A stewardly occupancy-ing does not merely stand outside of the computation and ask the computer what is true. It is given a place to stand within the situation as that situation changes over discrete turns. This stewardly occupancy-ing is carried by this stewardly Captain Cobb. Cobb stands for coordinationing, operationing, bobbining. This stewardly Captain Cobb has one job: to stand in regard to the continuity line as it advances across discrete turns. For this demonstrationing, we are going to undertake a little embodimenting minting. We are going to stand in the position of this stewardly Captain Cobb and compare 4 short traversalings, beginning twice from each of 2 different opening postures. There is one important thing to understand about what I am demonstrationing. This is an authoring and proving environment. As we re-step with this stewardly Captain Cobb, I am going to be using these controls to simulation the authoring of the situation through which the Cobb is traversaling. After a situation has been authored, this stewardly Captain Cobb would not be sitting here choosing lean XT, lean YT, or restep steady. Those relations would already have been furnished into the situationing sleeving. The Cobb would simply be experiencing the consequences of that authoring through traversaling. Here, we get to do both at once. We can furnish a little bit of the situation and immediately traverse with this Cobb to see what happens. Here is our first opening posture, the stable wobbling harbor. A departure harbor gives this Cobb a place to stand. It gives us an opening posture, but it does not give us a predetermined future. This is our local moment. These pull values and instrument readouts describe the geometry of where this stewardly Captain Cobb is standing now, as it is standing upon the situationing stage. For this first traversaling, we are going to keep authoring this same relation, re-step steady. The machine has found our next local moment, but we've arrived there now, and so it's our local moment. And clicking re-step steady again takes us to our next local moment. Notice that we have continued to author re-step steady, but steady does not mean frozen. Even though we've been re-stepping steady, the pull values began to change at around turn 5. This stewardly Captain Cobb has been demonstrationing holding across successive discrete turns. As that holding continued, some additional variation could itself become coherent. We began to see regulationing wobbling. The public situation machine is not trying to preserve the same coordinates forever. It's finding what may keep holding from where this Cobb is standing now. So that is our first traversaling. Let's go back to the same opening posture and change the authoring. So here we stand with this stewardly Captain Cobb back at the pier of the stable wobbling harbor. Same opening posture, but this time we are going to predominantly author lean YT. XT and YT come from the same 7-position reasoning sequencing loop mentioned at the beginning. We don't need to unpack the entire geometry here. Very simply, XT gives us a referencing standing, while YT gives us an outward relation from that standing. So when I use lean YT here, I am not directly grabbing this stewardly Captain Cobb and moving it to a different coordinate. I am simulationing an author furnishing a situationing in which the traversaling may be pulled farther outward from XT toward YT based on this stewardly Captain Cobb's choices. Okay, here is our new local moment. Now we continue. Watch our local moments. We began from the same stable wobbling harbor from the first run, and now we can compare. Same opening posture, but we furnished the situationing differently. This one ends in free wobbling. Through traversaling, different local moments came to stand. This is the distinction I want to emphasize. The situation is authored, but the path is not pre-authored. We did not write a hidden itinerary saying first go here, then go here, then go here. Instead, we furnished relations into the situation, and then this stewardly Captain Cobb traversaled through their consequences, one discrete turn at a time. The path became visible through traversaling. Now, let's change the opening posture. This is the directionally escalationing excursioning harbor. This stewardly Captain Cobb is beginning somewhere substantially different. We are no longer beginning from the calm waters and comparatively balanced geometry of the stable wobbling harbor. This situation is already standing in a more directionally excursioning posture. But the basic rule has not changed. The harbor gives us an opening. It does not give us a predetermined future. For our first traversaling from this harbor, we are going to do exactly what we did in 1A. We will author restep steady. Here is our next local moment. Again and again. And notice, restep steady does not mean that the machine erases the geometry from which we began. We are restepping from the standing that actually exists. And here is the traversaling that came to stand. Now we're going to return to exactly the same opening posture and furnish it differently. This time, we're going to be re-stepping lean XT. Earlier, with the stable wobble wobbling harbor, we used lean YT to furnish a stronger outward relation toward YT. Here, we are going to do something different. We're going to primarily furnish lean XT. Again, this stewardly Captain Cobb would not be clicking this control in an already authored situation. We are simulationing the authoring while immediately traversaling the consequences. Here is our next local moment. We've already entered shape repairing rebalancing through recursioning, redirectioningable, escalationing. Okay, and again. Now, compare this with the traversaling we completed just before this. Again, the same opening posture, but differently furnished traversaling. And different local moments have come to stand. This is where we can begin to see the intuition behind repairing rebalancing through recursioning, redirectioningable escalationing. Repairing rebalancing does not have to mean erasing the previous excursion and jumping backward to where we started. We have already traversaled. There has already been deformationing, and that deformationing can matter. Through recursioning, trying again, what has already happened can help furnish another posture, another purchase, and another possibility for where this stewardly Captain Cobb may stand next. So, those are 4 very short traversalings. We began twice from stable wobble wobbling harbor, and twice from the directionally escalationing excursioning harbor. In each pair, we began from the same opening posture, but we furnished the traversaling differently, and we watched different local moments come to stand over discrete turns. That is the central distinction. The situation is authored, the path is not pre-authored. The public situation machine does not need an infinite future already mapped out in front of this stewardly Captain Cobb. It only needs to find our next local moment, one nearby piece of time, one new locality given standing. Then this stewardly Cobb stands there, and we ask again. The propagationing is simple. One machine for every one.